I wish I'd known this going in. It would have saved me so much hassle. But I'm gonna pay it forward and I'm gonna tell you today, if you wanna succeed as a content creator, you should do this. I made the mistake a lot of people make when they set out. I was posting to get a response. Been like, oh, I'll post this and people will watch it and they'll give me feedback and they'll say it's great and boy, that'll feel good. A lot of people start there. They start with the fantasy. They start with the idea of having a large audience and having people appreciate their work. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you need that to keep going when you're small, it won't work. One of the terrible secrets of when you start content creation is that when you're new, nobody knows who you are. You're obscure. No one cares about your work. A lot of people will go into this expecting their family and friends at least to show up and support. And while some people are lucky, I didn't have that. The other creators I know, their friends and family were kind of late to the party. In my own case, I did have friends get into my work, but it was well after I'd already built up an audience. The reality is, when I first started posting online, nobody cared. Nobody was watching, nobody was reading, nobody was following. And I almost quit. Like a lot of people, I almost quit. I'm really glad I didn't, because I've gotten into YouTube in the last year, but prior to that, I'm the author of 7 books. I have a large following elsewhere, and I've had so much fun with my online business. You have to have that ability to be posting even if nobody is cheering you on. And that sounds pretty impossible. And it can really feel that way some days. But then I had a thought one day, and it kind of changed everything for me. And I'm going to share it with you guys. So when you're expecting to go out there and post and have people say, oh, good job, for that validation, that external validation to keep you going, that's very similar to how dogs are trained. When the dog does something right, you pet the dog, you say, good boy, you give the boy a treat. Animal handlers will have the clicker that they use, that they tie with a treat or the good boy. The clicker becomes the proxy for the external validation, but it's still that same process, relying on that external motivation, that validation. It hit me like a ton of bricks. If you want to succeed as a content creator, you need to train yourself. That's true, but you should look at the way that they train cats. What? They train cats? You might be saying. There's the whole saying like, oh, doing this is like herding cats, and that means that it's impossible. It's not actually. Training cats isn't as straightforward as training dogs, or at least it's not as obvious, but cats have been trained with great success. It just is in a different way. So some of you might be familiar with Jackson Galaxy, the animal behaviorist. I was really into his show back in the day. A big fan of his work. I've also read some other books on training cats. I've been a cat person over the years, and I had wrongly thought that it was impossible to train a cat. It is not. However, there is one underlying premise you need to keep in mind when you're training a cat. You need to make what you want them to do easier than the thing that you don't want them to do. It is that simple. You don't socially pressure a cat. You don't say, good boy, good boy. I mean, you can, but it's not going to have the same social effect that it would on a dog. But as we've talked about, relying on external validation or pressure or any of those things has a drawback when that external validation isn't present, when people aren't saying, oh, good job on your video. You're going to be demotivated. But if you treat yourself like a cat instead of a dog, if you set things up so that it's easier to do what you want to do than to not do what you want to do, then it'll work. What does this look like if you're a YouTuber? Okay, I'll give some examples. So the first thing you want to do if you're trying to train yourself like a cat is you need to set a consistent schedule, and you prioritize. You work your life around it as much as you can. Now, this isn't just a schedule as far as posting, although it does involve posting. It's another reason why it's good to post at a regular time, regular day, regular schedule. Not only is it good for the algorithm and for growth and all that good stuff, it also gets you anticipatory. But I would say, don't just schedule the post, schedule when you do the video. So in my own case, I'm not doing YouTube full time. I run an online business already. YouTube is newer. I do have 2 channels. I have a travel channel that I run with my partner that I post twice a week on, and I have this channel that's my personal channel that I'm doing once a week. In my schedule, I have Monday, I have certain tasks I always do. Tuesday, I have certain tasks I always do. Wednesday, and so on. My whole week is set like that. And it's not just with YouTube, it's also with my chores. I have everything on a schedule the most I can, and I prioritize that. I work other commitments around that. Which brings me to my second cat trick, which is batching. Batching content is a huge deal. Now, what's batching? Well, so as an example from my real life, I'm doing 3 videos a week, 2 videos for the travel channel, 1 video for this channel. So what does this look like? If I wasn't batching, what I would do is I would sit here with the camera and I would record a video from start to finish. Then I would go and I would sit down and I would do an edit, do my rough cut, do my final cut. Then I would come up with my title, my thumbnail, my description, upload it to YouTube, get it going, and post it before I filmed the second video, which I would repeat the whole process. And then for the third video, that would take forever. I don't know how I would do 3 videos a week, let alone all the rest that I do, if that's how I did it. Because you get into these modes, or at least I do, where you're talking to the camera. You got the camera gear out, you're all set up, you got your audio, everything is calibrated, you're ready. So you could sit down and you can do those 3 videos, talk to the camera. And then once you're wrapped on the filming, you do your editing session. You sit down, you do all the rough cuts, you take out the ums and the uhs and the pauses and all that. And then you sit down another time and you do 3 videos where you're working on the final cuts. You're doing animations, you're doing the fun bits, and then you sit down and you do the description. So that's batching. That's kind of taking one task and doing it for 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. Now, when you start, batching is really hard. As a beginner, you're probably not going to be doing that right away, especially if you're learning video editing, if you're getting more used to the core skills. But over time, you will find as you get more comfortable with the camera, with video editing, with YouTube, with everything, that it becomes pretty effortless to do 2 videos, then 3, then 4 or 5. At a certain point, it gets a little silly, but depending on your level of comfort and your time, it makes sense. So this is the day of the week that I tend to film. So I am filming multiple things right now. And it feels comfortable because it is the same day of the week that I usually film. So I got up and I knew, okay, I know what day of the week is, I know what I'm doing. And then, tomorrow I'll edit. Cats are the same way. They have that routine. If they're used to being fed when the sun comes up, they're going to ask for food every morning when the sun comes up. Just the same way, if you're used to filming when it's a certain day of the week, you're going to have that feeling and it's going to help you. This can be tough at first. You might have to renegotiate some of the expectations with other people in your life, but trust me, it's worth it and it will make a huge difference. The next example is writing content calendars well in advance. Right now on my phone, I have a number of content calendars, and I have one for this channel, I have one for my travel channel, and it has the list of the videos and the days that they are coming out. I also have a flow area where I have lists of videos that have been shot but not edited, have been edited but not final cut, you name it. I have all this information, this content schedule, and I'm organized as I go through, and I actually have a place on my calendar, like we were talking about days of the week in the schedule, where I review the content calendar and I make any relevant changes. So that keeps me moving through my schedule. It contributes to that momentum, makes it a lot easier to do what you're supposed to do. It also keeps me organized. Okay, so kind of pivoting in another direction, simplify your filming setup. In an earlier video, I showed y'all my setup, but a lot of people actually just shoot on their phone. You don't really need much to shoot. So if you're finding that setting up fancy camera, lights, tripod, and all that, it's a detriment. That can be a huge barrier, especially when you're getting used to it, and especially when you're not getting much validation from other people. I do a lot of shooting outside because I like the natural light, because then I don't have to set up the lights. That's a big help for me. Some people have really good luck with like a glow box. My husband actually sets up a small soft light box whenever I do work with him, because we tend to shoot inside, but it's very, very easy. It's not something that takes forever to set up, because the longer it takes to set up and film and to do things, the less like you are to film. Now, as you go along and you get used to the process, it makes sense to do more, and my own setup has gotten slightly more complicated the longer I've done this, but making it easy on yourself can mean starting where you are and doing what you're comfortable with and expanding as you learn. Honestly, once you do stuff for a while, you might even get a little bored and want to bridge out. I find that was the case for me, but boy, technical barriers, getting too fancy in the beginning, forget it. Without the external validation, you don't want to jump through a hoop. You just want to go get the treat. And another thing that goes along with that is making it easy on yourself to actually film when the time comes. So for me, I shoot on a GoPro a lot. That's what I'm talking to you on right now. Works pretty well for me. But one thing you'll know about GoPro batteries is GoPros are set to pop on and come on really fast if something exciting is happening. So they're always draining the battery a little bit. So you can put your GoPro battery in, and if you don't touch it for a week or two, when you go to shoot, it's going to be dead. So one thing that I always do, and I have in my schedule, in my routine, like we talked about, is I keep my GoPro batteries charged, even when I'm not filming. And I have a whole process, and I have extra GoPro batteries because of that, to make it easier for myself so that when I do have the ability to film, that will not be a barrier. Another cat trick, so to speak, is automating and delegating whatever you can. So that involves using tools to make things easier. So Photoshop is too intimidating for thumbnails. Look at doing something like Canva. Canva has templates for easy thumbnails. In addition, scheduling my videos out is awesome. So if I batch a bunch of content, if I'm really motivated, if I have a really good week where I can do 6, 7, 8 videos, I'm able to take the videos, upload them, schedule them, have them come out when they're supposed to. So if I have a busy week the next week or life gets in the way, I have content coming out. I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to make a big deal. Again, making it easier to do what you want to do than to not. Another cat trick is templates. Whether that's a way that you do your scripts, whether that's the way you do your thumbnails, whether that's something within video editing, motion graphic templates. Once you figure things out, make templates within your video editor. You could do that even within a word processor. You can make something called new YouTube script. It comes up, you have your opening, your close, you have the bullet points for an outline. What that looks like is going to depend on your preferred style of presentation and creation. But when you find something that works, or you find that you're doing certain things over and over again, put it into your software, populate it. You can always take it out or ignore it. Again, treat yourself like a cat. Another big thing is eliminating distractions. So I shoot outside, chaotic, I can't control everything, that's fine. But when I'm editing, I want to focus and make sure that I am not distracted, that I don't have a million things going on. So I have a pair of noise canceling headphones I use. I'll put them in the description below if you're interested. They are not cheap, but they are worth every penny. For me, I work in a 200 square foot space. It's an RV. My husband also works in there. He's right across the rig. He has constant Zoom meetings. So if I didn't have noise canceling headphones, I would constantly be distracted by what he's saying on his meetings. As it is, I can turn up the noise canceling. I don't even know is there. It's the kind of thing where he might have to message me or tap on my shoulder because I can focus so hard on that. But you know, for somebody else, that might be making sure you have a devoted office. I have heard that some people find the internet distracting, like they can't not surf. They have kind of this addiction. So what they'll do is they'll go to Starbucks. They'll literally have a laptop that has no internet on it, leave their phone at home, which seems pretty drastic, but for some people, that's what they need to do. So if you know that about yourself, again, think about what you are like as a cat. If you know that you are distracted by that, if you can't resist it, make it so you don't have to. You can even enlist accountability partners that can check on you. And the final tip, and this is so important, this is the most important tip of all. If you fall off the horse, don't beat yourself up. Don't make it a big thing. Just get back on as quickly as possible. There's this great quote. When I was first starting my business, I put it on a Post-it note and I put it on a wall of my old office at my day job. And it said, X times down, X plus 1 times up. That is really the formula of success. You can fall down as many times as you want. You can fail so many times, but so long as you get up one more time than the number of your failures, you'll be successful. Anyway, it was great talking to you as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.